Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We have arrived on Elite difficulty as our hardcore Commando. We're no longer a soldier, we are actually a Commando. So we are now playing on Elite and we're gonna continue where we were. So, on Elite difficulty, we have a penalty of negative 25% to all the resistances in the top row here. I actually thought the bottom row would be affected as well, but the deaths were merciful. So it's only the top row that gets negative 25. So before we were at 80% fire resistance, now we're down to 55, and that applies for all the other ones. The bottom row is unaffected. Once we complete the entirety of Elite difficulty, all the resists here are going to get an additional 25% resistance penalty. So the top row will get a total of 50 penalty and the bottom row is going to be 25. And given the fact that the bottom row is a lot more difficult to max out, especially the last three, this is a pretty nice thing to do. And I think it allows the penalties to be a bit more manageable than before. So the town is basically reset. You don't have a blacksmith. We have to actually acquire a blacksmith again to get access to that quest. But most of the other NPCs that offer quests to you, they are there, and it is worth talking to them. So Sybil Hart in there, she wants you to look for her brother. The Jane over there, she wants you to look for fabric, and so forth. Of course, Captain John Bourbon asks us to prove our worth again, even though Rook, the gatekeeper, he already knows that we have some faction with the Devil's Crossing city, so he doesn't let us in so he can access our stash. But without a blacksmith, of course, we can't do any crafting. We have one vendor, the other one we still have to rescue, and so forth. Also, let's buy some stuff.
See you around.
So we are level 47 and monsters are going to be around our level rather than level 1 capped out at 3. They should be, based on their level, they should be as difficult as they would expect them to be. And I actually saw that one block, which is the very first time I've even noticed monsters blocking. So expect things to get more difficult. Is basically what I'm trying to say here. The gear that we find will be better than the gear that we found before in veteran mode. We will actually have a chance of finding legendary items out in the wild. And most of the most of the epic items, the blue ones, they're gonna be more bound in sets. There's already a couple of sets starting from around level 30, level 40. The higher you get, the more I found them to be either set items or upgraded versions of the low level ones. Though, admittedly, I've only played a little bit on Elite difficulty. Played one character to the end of Act 1. So, I know the basics, but I'm no expert yet. But that's gonna make things doubly fun. So far, I've played through the base game on veteran mode with 3 or 4 different characters now. Let's see, we had the Summoner, we had the Nightblade, we had the Arcanist, and now we have our Soldier turned Commando. So this is the 4th one. But for Elite, this is the very first full playthrough that I intend to do. So things are gonna get fun. And we shall see how the build holds up. I'm very curious to see if there's a difference in AI behavior for the monsters. Like for example, if they're gonna be more aggressive. That's something that developers often do on higher difficulties, make the AI more aggressive than a normal. Which for our case would actually be beneficial, because we want monsters to kill themselves by attacking us. This is not really a lot in that house. Some bugs here. Of course, having inherited all the faction stances from before, we will continue to improve our reputation with the different factions or increase our hatred with certain factions, and especially the Ethereals, they are very prominent early on. We already get additional hero spawns, but once we make it to Nemesis, we get Nemesis spawns who are no joke. In the Crucible, once you go above wave 50 or 60, you start getting Nemesis spawns, and oh my, they're like end bosses that you encounter out in the wild. So it's a lot of fun, but a challenge as well. So our reduced resistances should make us a bit more vulnerable to elemental attacks, but the better loot drops should also allow us better opportunities to improve our gear. So we'll see out where the balance is going to be. Of course, we've already got socketed items in just about every slot. We can slot something in, but once we get enough reputation with the different factions, and we are on the cusp with Homestead, Command's Chosen, and the not the Black Legion, but at least with these and the Rovers as well. Once we get to the next tier, we get access to augments, which I've actually got one in my axe. This is one the green bonus at the bottom is an augment, and it's something that you can add in addition to the component. And it's yet another bonus, and you can add it to your weapon, your shield, and your jewelry. I don't remember there being augments available for other items, but we shall see about that. And some of those do give you extra resistances, so we have yet another venue to improve ourselves a bit more, but it's also going to be our final option there. We only need to get an additional 25 to basically our basic resistances, so that's rather manageable. And then towards the end of Elite, of course, we want to make sure that at least all of our bottom resistances are above 25%, so that once we hit Legendary, let's see. Average gate. But yeah, once we make it back, or once we get to the end, prepare for Legendary by getting our resistances in order. Ideally we overcap our resistances, but we'll see how feasible that is. I find that getting your resistance to about 50 or 60 is doable. Getting your resistances more above that tends to be a bit of a challenge. Resistances are, there's a lot more resistances, so it's more important to spread them around, and therefore it's just more difficult to max them out than in, say, for example, Path of Exile. Okay. Hello, water. Goodbye, water. So our current quest is gonna lead us to Burial Hill. There is a necromancer there that needs to be dealt with. Also, I had expected there to be a hero spawn somewhere nearby, but I think I just walked by. Hero. Yes, there you are. Baroque the Bloodied. As a new character on the veteran, this is always an interesting challenge. So let's see how we deal with it on Elite. So there's a whole bunch of these large flash warp thrashers who are doing quite some damage. Let's just hit Overguard again. But this is a good taste of what we can expect. So things will hurt. At least the more special encounters, like these heroes. And they'll be supported by the stronger base types rather than weaker base types. So everything will just be scaled up from what you know and expect on normal and veteran mode, making things a bit more interesting. Okay. Anybody home? Okay. And then let's move on. Grab the waypoint. And then kill ourselves a reanimator. One of the nice things of starting over on Elite is that you actually get to play the early part of the game with a proper build, with proper skills, with proper gear, and actually a proper challenge. That's of course in the earlier parts of the game. Everything serves as an introduction / tutorial, so the devs can't really go all out with level design, with quest design, things like that. So I expect more areas to be more difficult than I would remember them from normal. That one dealt quite a bit of cold damage. So yeah, monsters that might have been just merely annoying on veteran mode, they might actually be dangerous now.
I can't do that yet.
So this is going to be an actual journey of discovery again, which has been a while since I've been playing Grim Dawn with full playthroughs, at least through normal / veteran mode since beta 27, beta 28, something along that lines. So that has been a while now. So the earlier parts of the game, I have played most quests, have done most side content. Still, I keep discovering some new things that I haven't done before every once in a while, but those things are less than before. So rediscovering some content through Elite difficulty is a lot of fun. It's one of the things I also really enjoyed with Path of Exile. Making the step from only playing the game through on the first difficulty level and then restarting with a different build. Making the step to continuing a build on higher difficulties. And seeing how that changed the game. It was a lot of fun.
Can't do that yet.
But as a new player, just playing the normal difficulty and then doing another character and then playing through it again and then starting another character, definitely a good way to get to know the base game before trying to push your limits on higher difficulties. So Kaisok the Reanimator is completely not a challenge for us. I suspect normally you don't have any health, you don't have any regeneration, no armor, no resistances, no nothing. Nor do you really have access to skills. So your damage output is going to be rubbish and your tanking capability is going to be rubbish on normal mode. On Elite you are prepared, and as such he is a bit undertuned, it seems like. So that's an interesting reversal. I'd expected him to be nastier than normal, but on normal he's actually rather nasty, and here he is manageable. So, there is a devotion shrine here. On Elite difficulty there are going to be less devotion shrines than on normal. It's going to be the same devotion shrines, but some of them will just be disabled or just not there. And on legendary or ultimate, it's called the highest difficulty, it's gonna be there's going to be even less available.
I can't do that yet.
And they'll require more and different ingredients. In this case, it requires 3 ether crystals. I think normally it only requires 1 or 2, but we still get ourselves a devotion point. So, let's have a look. Devotion. We were working on the Wolverine. 35% to all retaliation damage is a rather nice bonus. We are currently boosting all our retaliation already by 246%. So, oh, that 35, it did basically increase our retaliation damage effectively by another 20% or so. Which is rather nice. So this entire thing fulfills the quest for John Bourbon. But of course we can push on a little bit.
I can't do that yet.
Actually, we have waypoints, so we don't really... Let's actually go back to town, have a chat with people, then pick up the new quests.
The dead attacks of slow a creep. I need some time to plan our strategy.
We get some iron, we get some reputation. We can sell our things. So, oh, the items are going to be higher level, so there is a chance that there's going to be upgrades. However, most of these are yellow items, so they'll have less bonuses and just in general they'll be more rubbish compared to what we've got. See, the numbers of resistance, for example, or the damage numbers are going to be higher. That's something that will just get better and better the further we get. But for now, we'll just stick with what we have. Once we get access to our blacksmith, I'll have a look to see if we can maybe craft some better items. Hello, Valdis. So, iron bits, and we got some scrap, which is nice. So we now gotta help Barnabas and Kasparov. Hello,
Captain
buddy.
Send you over?
Just enough scrap. Glad I could help.
I figured out a den of slith. This key.
And then we get access to the Slith Cave underneath a town. And over there, Barnabas, I think he wants ether crystals.
Welcome to my rift gates. You
Wait,
don't
what?
remember anything, do you?
Like these crystals. They feel
So
stronger.
preoccupied, I have to say.
And then he tells us to look for his assistant. And we got a attribute point. And a skill point. So, we keep boosting our physique. It's gonna get us more health, more regen. And we got a bonus skill point on top of the skill point we got for leveling, which I didn't even know we had done. So, convenient, this is not the level we were looking for. Oh, we only need 2 more points to get to the next level. After level 50, we stop getting as many skill points as we expected to get. But let's actually do the snake pits. Because helping Kasparov leads us to town, and that's going to be a bit further than what we would need to do. So, works rather well. Just charge in, shout at the beasties, and then they will all just kill themselves. It's basically using their tactics against them. And there's always some niceness in that. No turning the weapons of your or the tactics of your opponent against them. It's almost like you're using karmic balance as a weapon. Weaponized karma. That could be an interesting take on a class in a game. Okay. So a lot of things just lining up to get killed there, but we still have some mobs over here. Rotting Overguards. So as I mentioned, though, things are a bit more intense than on normal. Good thing for us is that we have a very large health pool.
I can't do that.
And of course we have a ton of life regeneration. We're still at 250 life regen. So that means we need to have a lot of enemies throwing a lot of damage at us to even really notice it. So once there were like a dozen or so of monsters, then they were doing some damage. You actually saw the health bar fluctuate a bit. Once we got them down to about half a dozen, damage bar just stayed where it was. They could not do enough damage. So playing a very, very tanky character on your first playthrough of higher difficulty levels is probably a very safe bet. It does allow you to experience content with a lot more leeway than you would normally have. You don't have to respond as fast. And things that would have killed a less tanky character, you can just shrug off and conclude like, yeah, maybe we should not be doing that anymore. Trade-off is, of course, we are not a damage dealing powerhouse. But I have to say,
Not ready.
we're doing rather fine. It does feel like the monsters are slightly more aggressive. Could also be that it's just that it seems like there's more monsters. Then of course if there's more monsters, even if they are just as aggressive as normal, there are going to be more of them attacking you at the same time, making them appear more aggressive. Hello, spider. I knew you wanted to charge me. Like that one. Dreadweave Leapers.
I can't do that yet.
Not to be confused with the Dreadweave Lepers. Oh, hello, Trinix the Weaver. Trinix, where are you? There you are. So, having a lot of forms of sources of stun and knockback and knockdown and things like that against a spider is pretty hilarious because you keep knocking the spider on its back for a second or so. And I think it just looks hilarious. It's like trying to tackle a spider. Right? They've got so many legs, you're bound to succeed at some point. And there we go. We just keep getting a bunch of yellow loot. An odd green one mixed in maybe. This early normally you would not be expecting a lot of blues anyway. Apparently that trend is continuing. I think once we hit 50 and the monsters are gonna be over 50, we should be seeing more legendary items. Level 50 is the baseline for legendaries if I remember correctly. We do have a legendary piece of armour waiting for us in our stash. Also requires level 50. So that at least seems consistent with what I remember.
Not ready.
And there's the spider. Okay. Let's find ourselves some slith. Also, there was a bit of an outline of an area over there. I thought we always bent off to the side, so I wonder if that's a reveal for a secret area I don't know about. Bears investigation, doesn't it? Or am I misremembering? That's also very, very possible. As I have mentioned multiple times already, I do misremember quite a bit about this game because there's just so much in the game that can be misremembered.
That skill's not ready.
Because the world of Grim Dawn it's large. And indeed, this is just, it weaves through. Oh, we're being stalked by a lizard. There you go. So on the one hand, no, the stuns and the knockbacks combined with our retaliation damage, it seems internally inconsistent. Now, if you want to get the most out of your retaliation damage, then of course you don't really want to be knocking them back. But the fact that Blitz is a knockback skill and our movement skill makes it a bit more difficult. Now, if we had not picked up a Demolitionist as a secondary class, but maybe instead gone with Nightblade, then we could have used Pneumatic Breath as our movement skill, which is not a knockback skill, but it's also part regen, part movement speed increase, and then you got Shadow Stab, which is just a teleportation, but it's an invisible movement skill rather than a technical teleportation. So that could have been a completely different style of play. Then you would have just simply more movement and no knockback. But Demolitionist has the Blast Shield, which I'm really curious to try. And a couple of other things which are synergistic with retaliation. And of course I have already played a Nightblade before. So not going with what you know is always a way to force yourself to try new things. Hello there, Scourge a Tamer. And a goodbye. Ooh, slave necklaces. We need those for a quest as well. I think we still have some of them in our stash. And there is Vilov the Corruptor.
Not ready.
Source of all nastiness and water pollution in this town. And again, once you got all the ads whittled away, a one-on-one with the boss is very, very manageable with our build. So you might notice I'm not really using Overguard. It's not necessary. It's fun, but it's not necessary. And that is the final bit. Boom. Loot. Ooh, a green carbine. Yeah, we're not gonna use that. So normally there's gonna be a devotion shrine down here, all normal. On elite there's not, instead all we got is this rock. Well, if you want we could now pray at the rock, but I guess that's gonna be slightly less effective for getting our devotion points up. So we're just gonna move on. And that is a more or less full clear for this area. So we can go back and have a chat with Barnabas. And that should make him happy. We already helped a customer for the research.
Any luck clearing out the... Well done.
So that concludes our first quest chain for John Bourbon. And the first key NPCs.
Good, you're back. You've proven yourself. Follow the road.
So now he's gonna send us to Burbage. So for next episode, our objective is going to be to secure the portal in Burbage Village. But that's gonna be a long and dangerous road, because we will have to make our way through the swamps to get to the village. And on the way there, we have to look for Sybilhart's brother and the named unique ones which are gonna be scattered along the road. So I hope you enjoyed our first episode in Elite difficulty, and I hope you'll join me again next time when we continue. So, as always, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.